Hey guys, this is Zeri bringing you another video. Now welcome to another Challenger Spectate. So I will say, over uploading this, potentially the subathon has just ended. I am planning, if we get the full time, potentially, then maybe it will finish midnight on Sunday, and that's when this video gets uploaded. So hopefully it would have gone well. Today's Friday, me recording this, I'm a little bit nervous. I can't really shake it, but I always get nervous with subathons. And I'm hoping it goes well. This subathon, I've tried to have a different vibe. No solo queue. We'll be doing everything with the community. Flex with viewers, arena, TFT, a lot of other games. I'm really looking forward. I hope I have a really good weekend. But anyway, we are watching a challenger, Zeri player. This game piqued my interest for a couple of reasons. Because one, there's a Master Yi on the enemy team. Two, the Ezreal took Ghost, which is a bit peculiar. And with the name Skillshot Lander. But then Zeri as a champion, I'd like to hear what people's opinions of her are, to be honest, because the question that I would kind of ask you guys of what I, would like to ask is, do you think she's a failed champion? And it might be like, well, she's really strong, but that's the point, is the thing with Zeri is, I remember way back when Riot said, oh, the next AD carry's got a mechanic we've never done before, and I called it. I didn't have insider knowledge at the time, and I was like, oh, she's going to have an aimed auto attack. And that's exactly what it was, because when they were kind of alluding to this new thing for an AD carry, it made it so that that's the only real big thing that you could do. And obviously, the way of Zeri is controlling your character and aiming the auto attack is actually quite a skillful thing. It's actually why this champion became the highest in percentage scripted champion in League of Legends. Like, beat Kog'Maw, beat all of them, beat Ezreal, because it was basically that you could control her movement while the script continuously autoed with your Q. Obviously, Vanguard has definitely seen that pretty much go away, which is good. But yeah, basically, the reason why I feel like she's a semi-failed champion is she's never in a state of balance, or it doesn't feel like, at least, in the fact that you have to balance this champion. She's one of the champs, so you have to balance it around high skill play, because if you leave her in a relatively strong state, the better players will absolutely go nuts on this champion, because again, she is hard to play in especially comparison to other AD carries, because she can't just right click and do damage. She has to move and auto, like move and aim and auto, and no other AD carry has to do that exactly as much. Like, Vayne is always considered a pretty high skill champion, but she still fundamentally gets to right click to do her damage, where Zeri is all about movement like a Vayne, but with aim. So she is a champ that I do think it's hard to kind of say that she's fully successful, even though I actually think she is a cool champion. And it's worth mentioning, we'll get into commentating a bit more about this game specifically, but right now I'm just kind of going off talking about some topics. About a month ago, maybe, of me recording this, there was kind of a leak that on the PB there was WASD aiming. I will say I'm not going to go into depth about it a lot, because I did speak to some devs in Berlin about this. Anyway, enemy team going for an all-in. Ghost by Ezreal, Flash by Zeri, Flash by the Rel with Ignite use as well. Sona uses the heal. I don't actually know if she waited for the Ignite to go off. If she didn't, that was a mistake, because again, Grievous Wounds does also affect Summon a Spell heal. But nice survival. That was a big all-in attempt by the enemy blue team, and obviously the natural advantage is to red team having that Sona. The Rel has to go all-in to do anything, whereas Sona Zeri will eventually just poke you down. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm not going to go into detail, because I was told things in confidence about certain things, and other things I'll not mention at all about League and what's going on in background. However, the WSA and AS&D thing, I don't think it's coming to League of Legends. Like, I don't think. Barrier use, Sona just survives, right click, gets the empowered auto, and really, look at, oh, Lee Sin should have flashed. Actually, no, he didn't have flash available, but no, that was really good tanking. You noticed that everyone was taking their turn. Sona timed it perfectly, then Zeri did a bit of timing, so no, that was very good. But no, I don't think WSA AS&D is going to come to League of Legends, and all I'll say is fundamentally it would be too broken, and that's why. There are 2 to 3 champions that would literally have to be permabanned, especially in higher ratings, if WASD came into the game, and that would be especially Zeri and Kalista. Those are like the top 2. even Ezreal to a certain extent, but I'd say Zeri and Callisto would be even worse because they are the absolute move champions, but having that kind of skill to continuously use your mouse while potentially moving the other way where you're doing damage. WSD would mean you'll be able to continuously always attack where you want to when moving would just be on your keyboard. So I wouldn't expect WASD movement to come anytime soon. If I had to guess why it was programmed and stuff, obviously the metagame that's coming out, obviously I'm allowed to talk about all this now, the metagame that's coming out with Yunara, the kind of side-scrolling kind of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fighter game, the arcade fighter game, that's WASD movement. So if I had to guess, it was more bringing it into the game and client for that, but yeah. But anyway, Zeri and Sona, I would say very, very strong lane. High scaling. Obviously, Sona, even though I'm not a massive fan of something like a Sona, it's just not my cup of tea, she's incredibly strong, and you can't really disregard that. Gangplank all happening top lane. Interestingly enough, Gangplank obviously has some buffs. This Gangplank, if you look at his rune, is running an interesting rune. He's running Fleet Footwork, and he's doing pretty good. And Cho'Gath's no slouch champion, but this Cho'Gath is running Hail of Blades. Hail of Blades is the more carry-orientated Cho'Gath. You can see this guy's building AP, which isn't really needed on Cho'Gath at all. I played Cho'Gath and carried games like mad by building full tank. Rise ultimate gets cancelled. Huge Sona! Oh my god, that was beautiful by Silas. Again, incredibly powerful solo queue champion. That was absolutely wonderful to watch. Rise might, I was going to say might pick up a kill, but alas, not enough damage yet into this game. Get CC'd and there you go. So that's a disaster. So blue team definitely taking the early lead. Gangplank is winning the 1v1 quite convincingly. Silas gets a kill. Yi gets a kill. Yes, red team got a dragon, so that's good for them. But yeah, I will say of me recording this, I have ordered food. Today is again Friday. Queen Pleb has just left to go to her parents' house with Maya for the weekend, because it basically frees me up to not, you know, disturb her too much when oh, I can actually say this. Oh my god, I can actually say this in a video because this is coming out after the subathon. Because she's pregnant, we're having a baby. She's been having a bit of a hard time in terms of her energy levels and stuff. So she's gone to her parents' house so other people can help with Maya while I'm basically busy the whole weekend. So yeah, this is actually the first video that I can say it out loud because of the upload time. I'm planning that I'm actually going to be announcing it on Saturday afternoon, evening-ish. So yeah, the audience will kind of known from yesterday. So yeah, that's kind of cool. So anyway, lane swap has happened. Now I will say I still to this day get confused when some lane swaps happen. So in what world would you lane swap here? So Silas has an advantage, like, and he's dead. Silas built a nice advantage, 2 kills. He's more powerful than the Rise, and then you send him bot lane in a 2v1. I know obviously the Ezreal and the Rel have had a bit of a hard time so far in bot lane, but that's just not worth it. Now the only thing is you're putting Rel near the objective. That's fine, and maybe you didn't want to leave the Ezreal by himself in bot lane, but that's still not great. I still wouldn't have given the Zeri Sona, a hyper-scaling bot lane, a bit of freedom. Even if they didn't kill that Silas, that was still a bad decision. You're still giving Zeri waves, if not plates, for free. So dive happening in top lane. Again, the Cho'Gath building AP is just, it's asking to basically get ruined. Especially in, I'd say, a challenger game. Oh, Zeri! Can she even do this? Oh, yes, she can. And then behind, very nice. So now you might be like, oh, is this a bad roam? Not really anymore. And this is where, like, sometimes it's true for one instance and not true for the other. But negatives can still happen. Like, Rise is dead because the game has completely opened up. The more open a game can be, it does go in a Zeri's favor. Why? Because she's hyper-mobile. She can jump over a wall and catch people out. But obviously, the enemy team has started this role trade of really not wanting, basically, the Ezreal to have to lane against the Zeri. But this is going in the Zeri's favor. So now that the enemy team has started it, what red team is doing is kind of answering it, in essence. Gangplank has decided he's TPing from there to there. So you might be like, why? You notice their positioning. They were standing south of the tower. They would have fought the Gangplank to his tower. They wouldn't have let him get there for free. if you just teleport on it when there's limited minions, he needed to time it that there wasn't a full minion wave. He needed to time it that, oh, in 1 to 2 minions, there's no minions, so I can teleport here with basically safety. Obviously, the one big thing is Sona, Zeri, they're okay at tower dives, but they're not incredible at them because Sona is too squishy. You usually... Oh, what's Marcy doing? Barrier early, Sona ultimate, very nice rise kill. Ezreal going absolutely ham, does get the kill. He does land his skill shots as his name would suggest. Lee Sin coming over, can they get the kill? Yes, they can. Sona gets it up. And it's also worth knowing, there are some enchanter supports you really don't want to have kills. Like, I wouldn't want a Soraka to have kills. I wouldn't really want a Janna to have kills. Sona is one of the exceptions, because Sona, in what she can do, Seraphine, I'd say, is another example. I'd be okay with a Seraphine getting a few kills, because Seraphine, hilariously, they're obviously similar, but they have quite high carry potential as an enchanter in terms of their utility that they actually give, the survivability that they give teammates, and even damage. Sona's damage in late game is actually more than people think. So actually having a Sona get 1 or 2 kills here and there is probably okay. Now, again, would I go, oh, Sona, take this kill over me, the Zeri? No, obviously, you'd always really want it on your AD carry, but it's just a good option to have. So again, challenger, obviously, players in this game, you can see that Ezreal, even though he's had a bit of a rough one so far, he is good. You can tell he's good. His movement's really nice. His skill shots are very on point. And I like showing these games, one, because it is highlighting very good play, but there are also mistakes that do creep in. So enemy team going for a big engage, using the Gangplank ult. Marcy also randomly snuck in there. I don't even know where he was. Lee Sin, though, really nice cleanup play, and they do punish it. Now, I will say, we've spoken about it here and there in terms of how League is balanced. Now, the thing with League of Legends, I'm going to say something that's going to make people go, what? League is probably, dare I say, in its most balanced it's been in probably about 5 years. Genuinely. There are some outliers, but fundamentally, the meta is pretty good. Like, I'd actually use potentially the word chill. Like, there are strong champions, and there are some weak, but there is not absolute extremes right now. It's actually pretty narrow in what the strength window is. And I know people go, Dr. Mundo, he needs to have some changes, but not realistically because he's overpowered. It's more because it's a bit unhealthy. And the only thing that they really realistically need to do, and I think it would be a good change overall, Zeri. I would have expected that. They just need to change Warmogs. And she's dead. So yeah, that's an AD carry walking around the map with complete confidence. Can't do that all the time. But yeah, they just need to change Warmogs. If they changed Warmogs, it would kind of fix it. Because standard Dr. Mundo, I think that where people don't understand, he is a hyper carry. He is, you could dare say, near equivalent. Dude, this Ezreal is good. He's near enough an equivalent of something like a Kayle, but his disadvantage is he's melee. So it is harder for him to go in and kill people. But when he can get into melee, he is supposed to destroy people. Yes, maybe the damage is a little bit too high. Maybe. But the thing that gives him his unhealthy nature right now is 3 Giants Belt Warmogs, or suddenly you can't now deal with me in lane phase. We do a bit of a trade. I'm doing surprisingly high damage already. We do an even trade. But give me 10 seconds. I'm going to be back to full health and you're not. That's what it is. That's all they need to do. And that's potentially... You know, would nerfing Warmogs hurt other champions? Not really, because what other champions build it? What other champions rush it? None. I think I saw a Sejuani top lane do it, maybe because Mundo got banned. So, yeah, like, I think that's the answer. But as for League of Legends right now, it's actually pretty balanced. And that's me saying it. So, you know, I'm quite critical of Riot. I remember in Berlin... One of the questions I asked straight away was like, are we allowed to talk about, what topics are we allowed to talk about? Are we allowed to talk about balance and specific champions and design? And they were like, you're only allowed to talk about what the devs are currently here as their specialists. There was no balance dev at the event. I was like, oh, I would have loved, oh, here we go. I would have loved if someone like Freak or someone of that nature was at the event, because actually having a really good conversation would be awesome. Talking about balance strategies, you know, theory of balance and stuff, that would be amazing to do. But yeah, Cho'Gath dead again, so obviously 0-5-0 Cho'Gath. isn't good. It is because of the build. You know, losing to a Gangplank early and then something like a Master Yi is going to kind of kill you quite easily if you, one, are behind enough that you can't do damage, and two, you're not tanky because you're not building tank. The reason why I think I began that tangent talking about balance, however, was the philosophy of balance that I wanted to talk about was their recent couple years. They have kind of gone with the nature of we'd like all, what seemingly has been, we'd like all champions to be available at all ratings. Dude, look at this Ezreal. What Ezreal has the confidence to do this, by the way? It just doesn't happen. Zeri's dead. That Ezreal is hyper confident. What Ezreal has the confidence to sit and fight a Zeri? It's crazy. RC in the area. That's bad. But yeah, my thing that I would love to have asked Riot is why seemingly is there a philosophy of wanting every champion in every rating? Because a couple of years ago, something like Master Yi, this is a challenger level League of Legends game, wouldn't have happened. The only way it would have happened, and I don't know if this player is one of them, is a one trick. And, you know, a one trick in challenger is also extremely rare. A one trick Master Yi in challenger is extremely rare because that champion does limit you the higher rating you go. But in the last couple of years, he has seemingly been fine in higher ratings. And other champions are like this too. You know, the rise of stuff, and I'm not saying it as a negative or anything, but the rise of Warwick top lane or Garen has been played in pro play in the last 6 months. Why? You know, what's the philosophy about that? I'd like to know, because I personally am completely fine, and I kind of like that there are kind of tiers of, right, that's a champion that is for low rating, that's a, you know, a Zeri, right, high rating champion, really hard to play, so you won't see much of it in lower ratings. I think that's kind of interesting, and I think it was healthy more than anything else, because it basically helped towards balance. But I would love to hear what the philosophy of that would be. Dude, this Ezreal, I know we're technically watching a Zeri, but I am incredibly impressed with this Ezreal so far. Now again, Ezreal you could say is limited in terms of his carry potential. He isn't as you know, he's not an absolute hyper carry like a Zeri, but he is incredibly strong in the hands of a good player. So I was just checking my camera out front that the food wasn't here. But yeah, so Zeri is a very powerhouse champion, but the one thing I would say about Zeri, she does usually require a team kind of around her to keep her a little bit safe. And obviously at the moment, that's not really happening. So you might be like, oh, why at least did not go in? Going in there would have been highly risk. Ooh, that was crazy by the Lee. So yes, smiting it, killing it is technically the correct play. He blew that Rift Herald up right near the Zeri, so the Master Yi just fell out of it where, you know, they land. Nice kill. Can Cho'Gath go secure? Yes! No, he can't! Wow! So I think that was Feast of Strength just claimed. Look at the Ezreal, by the way. So again, Zeri looking what she can do. Sona is here now, so that does help a bit, but I don't think she can 3v2. We'll see what they can do moving forward. Look at this Ezreal, very confident, hitting basically every skill shot. Master Yi gonna try his best. He's used W, very nice. That was a bad W by Master Yi. Now they can actually go on the Ezreal. He probably will still pick up 1 or 2 kills. Right click, and there we go. Woo! So Zeri did good there. Whoa. Again, the thing is, and I've said it for a long time, I love Ezreal. He historically is one of my best AD carries. But, and obviously we are watching a challenger game, but for this Ezreal to have an impact the same as other AD carries, Zeri included, he has to fundamentally play way better than them. And that's his problem. If you have a Zeri, let's say Super Saiyan amazing godlike level of play is 100%, nobody plays at 100%. Nobody ever plays at 100%. Let's say the best even professionals do in their absolute peak of their potential, they could play at 95. You know, a little bit of distractions might happen, little thoughts go into your head, so you cannot play at absolute 100%, but 95. For an average solo queue, even a challenger game of solo queue, an AD carry will probably be playing 80% as good as they can, and that is completely fine. Playing it as 80% as good as you can, you're farming fine, you're getting some kills, you're making generally okay decisions, that is fine. Ezreal, 80% is not good enough. That's his problem. He needs to play at 90% at least as good as he can play, And again, that still requires you to be a really good Ezreal as well. So it's one, being a good Ezreal, and two, he's dead. It requires you to be a good Ezreal, and it also requires to play nearly as good as you possibly can. Where other AD carries, Zeri, Severe, Vayne, Caitlyn, whoever, name one, Lucian even, they don't have to play anywhere near as good. And fundamentally, the stronger the AD carry that you play, and this is kind of just in theory how it is with overpowered champions, the less good you have to be because the champion you're on is overpowered. That's kind of the problem with overpowered champions. They are too strong consistently, but it's less about the player playing them and more about the champion. All right, so Adakan is obviously being started because the enemy team has no AD carry. It has been slain. Very interesting teleport by the Gangplank. Good kick by Silas. They should be easily winning this fight, though. I'm surprised the red team was seemingly a bit hesitant there. Does get the kill, and then the base for Rel. I'd be surprised if she gets away, to be honest. But she is. Oh. So again, those like fast bases are like sometimes they're really bad, and sometimes they're really good. Because sometimes if you know, oh, they're going for this team, one of my teammates, I can base right now. I'm not in vision, especially if you have red trinket to check. Sometimes it is as good as you can of base as quick as possible. Because if she delayed her base there by 2-3 seconds, maybe someone would have found her. So, yeah. So that's the thing I would say about especially Ezreal, is you need to be a god to make that champion work. And yes, he's very fun, but if fundamentally you find that you peak and trough quite a lot as a player, some games you can play pretty good, some games you have a bit of a worse game, I would not recommend Ezreal as a champion to play. Because you need to be consistently, every single game, you need to play better decision-making wise, you need to be better mechanically than your opposition AD carry to just do as much as them. That's his problem. But he's very fun, and that's why he's a very popular champion. All right, enemy team, big combos going on, but it's actually going in, I think, red team's favor, because here comes Zeri, and this is what I mean. Ezreal does not have this carry potential. He cannot go into a team fight and AoE everything to death. Zeri can. So that's one of the Ezreal negatives, and that's one of Zeri's, I'd say, biggest positives. She is a hyper carry that scales incredibly well, and she even scales in terms of teamfight AoE. You know, like Severe does that as well, but Zeri does it too. And what Zeri has as an advantage is, yes, Severe has movement speed. Zeri has mobility. She can jump over walls and do these engages with her ultimate that does AoE damage, and then she's opening up with her Q with Runans that does AoE damage, and obviously with her ultimate procs, the Q's doing AoE damage anyway. So it's an incredibly powerful kit, and that's what I mean. It's very hard to balance this type of champion. I think they don't do it's not a terrible job. Like, again, is she crazy OP? No, I just think she's very hard to consistently have in a healthy spot. So like right now, if I go on her profile on stats, right now you would look at that and go, she is balanced. So she is a 50.2% win ratio in Emerald and above. That's not bad. Let's see what happens when we change this to Diamond and above. 50.23 goes up slightly. Diamond 2 and above, 51.2. It's gone up a whole percent basically, going up from just Diamond and above to Diamond 2 and above. Nice, and there you go. That's probably game. Let's then go to Master and above, 51.85. It's gone up again. Let's go up to Grandmaster. Okay, that's a weird statistic. Okay, Grandmaster, 46%. Challenger, 56%. Basically, what I was trying to make here, the point here, is every single time you go up in rating, her win rate goes up. I don't know what's happened. Oh, I see. I think what's happened here. Something weird's happened with the Grandmaster rank. Not gonna lie, I don't know if there's a bug or something. Every single one is true. Literally, Master rank, as Master, not even Master Plus, just Master is 52.62%. Then Challenger is 56.46. So, like I was trying to make the point, is the higher rating you go, this champion will only get better and better and better. And she's probably in an okay state of balance right now. If they made her any stronger, she'd be over a 60% win rate in Challenger, and you can't have that. That's the problem. So yeah, I don't know what statistically has happened to the Grandmaster. If you, by the way, go on all ranks, 50.2. If you go, hang on, let's go down to Iron. She's got a positive win rate in Iron, positive win rate in Bronze. She near enough has a positive win rate everywhere. So you could even argue she's probably a bit too strong. because champions that are fundamentally giga strong in terms of skill and everything, they typically are supposed to have more negative win rates overall. That's the way that Riot wants to balance them. Like, an Azir should never be on a positive win rate. Like, Azir right now, how much is he on? 46% win rate. That will probably mean he's relatively balanced, by the way. And I know people go, what? Yeah, because if you give Ezreal too much strength and he has a positive win rate and he's winning games, he's overpowered. Like, if I change that to challenger rank, Ezreal has a 50.5% win rate. Yeah, that's pretty strong for an Ezreal. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Welcome to the Rift, where the legends play. It's us and games bringing skill every day. From tips to tricks and play so fine. You'll learn the game and have a good time. Thanks for watching, you're the real MVP. Hit that like and sub, join the family tree. Like, comment, and subscribe. Keep the Huzzy dream alive. Tune in on Twitch, it's the place to be. Huzzy Games, let's go hang with me. So hit that bell, don't miss a thing. Thanks for the love, you're making me